Before we get to the story, I need you to picture something. A bird, 3 meters tall, running at 50 miles an hour directly at you. Its beak can split a human skull in a single strike. This animal was not a dinosaur. It lived in South America. It was the apex predator of an entire continent. And it's been gone for 2.5 million years. This is the story of South America, the continent that built its own monsters, and then lost all of them. To understand what happened, you need to understand geography. 66 million years ago, when the asteroid hit and the dinosaurs died, South America was already an island. A continent-sized island, completely surrounded by ocean, completely cut off from the rest of the world. What this means is simple but profound. For 30 million years, the animals of South America evolved in total isolation. No competition from outside, no migration, no exchange. Just one continent, running its own evolutionary experiment in complete secret for 30 million years. And the results were extraordinary. When the dinosaurs disappeared, the large predatory roles on land went empty. In most of the world, mammals filled that space. Wolves, big cats, bears. In South America, birds filled it. Not small birds, not singing birds. Birds 3 meters tall. The phorusracids, called terror birds by paleontologists, were the apex predators of South America for nearly 60 million years. 60 million years. For context, dinosaurs ruled the Earth for about 165 million years. Terror birds held South America for more than a third of that time. They were built like nothing alive today. The body of a flightless bird, legs that could sustain 50 miles an hour in a sprint, a hooked beak nearly half a meter long, designed not just to bite, but to strike downward with devastating precision. Paleontologists studying their skull structure found that terror birds didn't grab their prey and hold. They struck, repeatedly, fast, like an axe. The largest species, Kelenken guillermois, stood 3 meters tall and had a skull larger than a horse's head. It was the largest bird that ever lived, and its beak was its weapon. But the terror birds were not alone. While the predators dominated, the herbivores of South America were building their own scale. Megatherium americanum, the giant ground sloth, 6 meters long, 4 tons in weight. When it stood upright, and it could stand upright, it reached nearly 6 meters in height. Taller than a 2-story building. Modern sloths are slow, harmless. They hang from trees. Megatherium was something else entirely. It had claws, 3 of them on each forelimb, each one nearly a meter long. Scientists initially assumed it was a herbivore, but the claw structure doesn't support pure plant eating. Some researchers now believe Megatherium may have been an opportunistic predator, capable of killing prey and defending carcasses from competitors. A 6-meter sloth with meter-long claws that may have eaten meat. South America was building impossible things. Let's meet the others. Doedicurus, a relative of the modern armadillo, the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. armored with a bone shell 2 centimeters thick, and at the end of its tail, a spiked club used for combat with other Doedicurus and possibly against predators. Macrocenia, an animal with no living relatives and no close modern comparison. The body of a camel, the neck of a giraffe, the nose of an elephant, a short, flexible trunk for sensing the air. It looked like 3 different animals assembled by committee. Thylacospilus, a saber-toothed predator, but not a cat, a marsupial, completely unrelated to the saber-toothed cats of North America. Evolution, isolated on 2 separate continents, invented the same weapon twice. Toxodon, a hippo-shaped herbivore discovered by Charles Darwin himself during the voyage of the Beagle in 1833. Darwin called it one of the strangest animals ever to have lived. This was an entire parallel world, an alternate version of what large animals could look like, built by isolation, shaped by a continent, running its own rules. Subscribe before we get to what ended all of this. What happened to these animals is one of the most dramatic ecological collapses in the last 10 million years, and it happened surprisingly recently. For 30 million years, the isolation held. Then 3 million years ago, something shifted in the Earth's crust. The tectonic plates beneath Central America, which had always been underwater, rose. Slowly, over thousands of years, a strip of land emerged from the ocean. The Isthmus of Panama, a land bridge 45 miles wide at its narrowest point, connecting for the first time in 30 million years North and South America. What happened next is called the Great American Biotic Interchange. Scientists study it as one of the most important ecological events in the last 10 million years. What it actually was an invasion. From the north came animals that South America had never seen. Horses, deer, tapirs, peccaries, mastodons, gomphotheres, and predators. Wolves, jaguars, pumas, bears, and the most dangerous of all, Smilodon fatalis, the saber-toothed cat. South American animals moved north as well. Giant ground sloths reached as far as Alaska. Glyptodonts, the giant armored relatives of Doedicurus, crossed into North America. Terror birds pushed north into what is now Florida and Texas. On paper, this sounds like an equal exchange. It was not equal at all. The North American animals that moved south survived, thrived, and multiplied. The South American animals that moved north almost all went extinct within 1 million years. And in South America itself, the collapse was catastrophic. Why did South America lose? The honest answer is, we don't entirely know. But the evidence points to several reasons.
First, competitive displacement. The North American herbivores, horses, deer, mastodons, were more efficient grazers. They outcompeted South American herbivores for food. When the prey base collapses, the predators that depend on it follow. Second, the predator gap. Terror birds were formidable, but they hunted alone, adapted to specific prey. Smilodon hunted in packs. Wolves hunted in packs. Cooperative predators versus solitary ones. The math is unforgiving. Third, the Pleistocene ice ages. The climate was changing. Forests were shrinking. Grasslands were expanding. North American animals had evolved across open grasslands. They were built for it. South American animals had evolved in different conditions. Some couldn't adapt fast enough. The last terror bird died approximately 2.5 million years ago. Megatherium and Doedicurus survived longer.
They were still alive when humans arrived in South America approximately 12,000 years ago. And that was the final chapter. Wherever prehistoric megafauna and humans overlapped, the megafauna went extinct within 1,000 years. The timing is consistent everywhere humans arrived. The animals disappeared. South America today is still the most biodiverse continent on Earth. The Amazon, the Andes, the Pantanal. But walk through any of those habitats and you're walking through a ghost ecosystem. The giant ground sloths are gone. The terror birds are gone. The Thylacosmolus is gone. What remains, the tapirs, the anacondas, the capybaras, are the survivors, the ones that made it through. But they exist in an ecosystem designed for much larger animals that no longer exist. South America built something extraordinary over 30 million years. A complete, isolated, functioning world, with its own predators, its own herbivores, its own evolutionary logic. And then a land bridge formed. And 30 million years of work unraveled in 3 million. The next time you look at a modern sloth, you're looking at the last echo of something that was once 6 meters tall. The continent built its own monsters. It just couldn't keep them. If this changed the way you think about South America, subscribe and hit the bell. Drop a comment. Which animal would you bring back? We'll see you in the next one.